Yo, what's good? Big Z here, and today I'm going to listen to your tracks that you guys sent me to my demo email and give you guys some feedback on your tracks. So sorry in advance if I don't get to your track. There were a ton of submissions, so I'll do my best to get to as many as I can. But anyway, let's get started with this track right here. So for the most part, I'm just going to skip straight to the drop for time's sake, but let's check it out.
I'll be there for you when you'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there for you when you were all alone. I'll be there for you, 'cause I know that I'll be there for you when you've.
It sounds dope. I like that bass line a lot. It sounds kind of like a 4-mint saw bass.
Yeah, I'll be there for you when you were all alone.
I think it'd make the track sound way fuller if you just added some reverb to those brass stabs.
I'll be there for you, 'cause I know that I'll be there for you when you were all alone. Oh, I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there for you when you were all alone.
That little pitched percussion thing in the second half of the drop sounds a little bit off pitch, so I would pitch that a little more to the track. But anyway, the mix sounds good and it sounds like a cool track overall. Nice work on this one, Meloma. So straight away I'm noticing that snare hit should really pop through the mix more. It needs some more high-end slap to it. So maybe layer it with the top end of another snare that has a lot of high-end snap to it. Because that snare needs to be like the driving force of that drop and really cut through the mix. But other than that, I like the groove of the track you got going on with the side chaining and everything. The chords sound a little bit harsh in the high end, but overall I think it's pretty cool and kind of a unique kind of future bass style. This one is dope. I love it. This is awesome. It has the perfect amount of simplicity to it where you can really vibe to it and there's not too much going on, which I love. That lead melody is awesome and the sound is really cool. I'm just really digging this track overall. One thing I might add is some reverb automation in the background, just at certain points in the drop. Have some reverb come in on that lead sound, just keep things moving a little bit. Maybe add some reverse reverbs in, maybe on the first note of the lead and the drop. Things like that, just to keep the track moving a little bit more. But other than that, it's super dope. There's no download available, but this is a sick track. Whenever it comes out, definitely DM me and let me know. I like this dark, slow trap vibe you got going on here. That lead that just came in. That super detuned lead, I think, is the coolest part of the track. That's really cool right there. I would maybe sidechain everything a little bit more to the kick. Just have like a really quick sidechain, because that kick is really punchy. So to make it really cut through, I would maybe sidechain everything a little bit more. I would maybe add a pad in the background, kind of like swelling in and out or something, just something to fill up the space a little bit more. But overall, it's a cool track with a really unique vibe. By the way, I'm super impressed with all these tracks I've gotten so far. They're all way better than I thought I was going to get in my first couple listens. So let's keep listening. So this one sounds like everything's drowning in too much reverb, which is a really common problem. So to make those leads more in your face in the mix, you want to not drown them in as much reverb, or maybe sidechain the reverb to the original signal. But the mix sounds a little weak too, in my opinion. Yeah, but that's mainly because of the reverb. Like, it sounds like the snare is kind of drowning in reverb too. So if you don't have so much reverb on everything, everything can really be up front in your face more, and the mix will cut through a lot better. So I think that would help out this track a lot.
Erik, hvor faen dildoen min? Gutta som har festet, du vet vi gjør det meste av alt mellom skåp, smale kalorier. Vi kjøpte på Coop, ikke keen på look, og innførte det på bok. Gutta som har festet.
I have no idea what he's saying because this dude is from Norway, but this track sounds cool. That kick sample sounds awesome. Okay, that sounds super nice. I like that a lot. One thing I will say is that bass should be a lot wider and a lot more present in the mix. Like right now it sounds pretty thin. So maybe bring that bass up in volume a little bit, and also add in a new stereo layer that really fills out the stereo spectrum, but keep that a little lower in the mix and just widen up that bass sound a lot. It'll make your track sound super full. But right now, that short, punchy bass sound sounds great for this track. And overall, I would make all the synths a little bit louder in the mix compared to the drums. That kick and snare sample is super nice, but I would definitely bring up the synths a little bit. But dope track.
She's bitter, but when she's sweet, she's so sweet.
Love the processing on that guitar.
Couldn't be better. It's high, but I'm going back to sleep. Just the two of us, swimming in my mind. And I say, oh, 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 oh.
These vocals are great too.
I say, oh, 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 oh. You're so bittersweet.
This track has a really cool vibe to it. I think the mix sounds a little bit off. I would make the drums a little louder and more present in the mix, especially that clap compared to that synth lead. That synth lead is kind of overpowering the whole drop a little bit too much.
You're so bittersweet.
But I like the whole vibe you got going on. I like that saw bass a lot, and I like that chord sound. I think the mix just sounds a little bit off. The drums need to slap a little bit harder compared to that overpowering synth lead, but it sounds really cool. And it looks like you already got some love on it down here. So, dope track. mix sounds really nice and clean. I like the short reverbs you used to kind of put everything in a little space. I don't really know if I even have any feedback on that one. I don't know if there's anything I would really change. Maybe if anything, use a little bit less of the reverb so it's not so much in that space, but overall it's a pretty sick track. I like the festival vibe you got going on here. The high end of the mix sounds a little bit too harsh for me. Ooh, that second part of the drop is really nice when you start messing around with that horn sample. I like the reverb automation and stuff you have going on. It sounds like you're pushing the master a little bit too hard here. It sounds like it's distorting a little bit or just a little bit too in your face, which I know you want for this type of track, but it's a little bit too much. So the harshness in the high end could be a mastering thing. Just make the high end a little bit less harsh and don't push the limiter as hard. It'll be a lot easier to listen to on all types of different sound systems. But anyway, cool track. I like what you did with that horn sample or whatever that sound is. Alright, so this guy says this is his second EDM song ever, so this should be interesting. So let's see if we can give him some useful feedback here. So this is actually very impressive for your second EDM track ever. Some advice I would give here is the sounds are a little bit generic sounding, so I would just work on maybe the sound selection that you've used. Like those saw sounds are a little bit too generic sounding for me, just to make them a little bit more interesting. Some of the drum samples you have could be improved. Like I would definitely look on splice.com and try to find some better kick samples and clap samples, just a little bit higher quality. And I think that'd take this track up a notch for sure. But really impressive for your second EDM song ever. Like the kick sounds a little bit muddy. I think you could definitely find a better kick sample. But anyway, I'm impressed. Nice work. This track has a ton of energy to it, definitely a festival banger. One thing I would do is bring up like the clap and percussion a little bit in the mix, because that'll help drive the drop forward more if that percussion, like those hi-hats and that clap sound, is more present in the mix. Other than that, I would just make sure you're high passing everything correctly so everything's not getting too muddy in the low end, because right now it sounds like the mix could be a little cleaner. I think you could fix that by cleaning up like the low mids of some of those sounds and just make sure only like the really important sounds have all those frequencies coming through. But anyway, cool track. I like the energy. So this dude, I actually mixed his track on camera, Alan James or AJ Turgeon, for one of my videos, so I'm expecting good things here.
Or just ended on the spot. Is this the final call? Ask
This sounds really dope. I think the 808 could be better. I don't know if it's how it's mixed or the actual 808 sound itself. I think the 808 should sound a little bit deeper, but then you can bring in more high frequencies with some saturation. So I would actually reference some popular hip hop tracks and really listen to how they process their 808s, because they always sound super fat and really well mixed in. So I would definitely reference some popular hip hop tracks. Also, the high end on that vocal chop is just a little harsh, so I would tame the high end a little bit. But other than that, dope track, I like it. I like the vibe you got going on here, but I would add some stops and some drum fills, maybe some pitch bends in the lead, just to keep everything a little more interesting, because it just sounds a little flat right now. But yeah, if you just add some ear candy to it, I think it'll help out a lot. And I know this says unmastered, so I think it'll sound a lot fuller after it's mastered. Chords sound awesome already.
I don't wanna force the issue. Say that you played it safe when you walked away. Was it too hard to
I love the chords and the songwriting you have going on here. The kick drum sounds like it's a little bit too in your face and kind of overpowering the mix too much. I would also work on the timing of those like filtered LFO chords in the background, because they sound a little bit like they're throwing off the timing of the track. To really keep the time of the track, I might just add like a closed hi-hat that hits on every quarter note, just so like the listener can follow easily along with the timing of this track, because it's a little unique. But overall, it's really cool, and I love those chords. This mix sounds really good. It's nice and clean, and it's perfect for this type of track. I really like that little pause there. This track sounds really full and complete. I really don't think I would change anything about it. So nice work, Min-Soo Kim. Like this track. I like that pad sound a lot with those chords. It sounds really nice. Also, it says this is your first original. I'm really impressed that it's your first original, because the mix and everything sounds really clean. I know you have a little bit of pitch bending going on already with the chords, but on some of the chords, I would make it kind of bend up from a lower pitch. I think that'd be cool to add some movement to the chords. Bum, 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 bum. Like there, it kind of pitch bended up, but in the beginning of some chords, if it pitch bended from a lower pitch, I think that would sound really cool. I would also add some hi-hats at some point during this drop just to keep the energy moving. I know there's a quiet one in the background, but I would add like a 16th hi-hat or something just to keep the energy moving. But other than that, all the samples you use and the sound design and everything is really nice. So nice work. I like this one a lot.
The loving in my heart won't break into.
I like that lead sound a lot and the lead melody, but it kind of sounds like it's drowning in the mix. I think that lead sound needs some more high-end energy in there just to be a little brighter and in your face. Also, I think the build-up was a little too loud compared to the drop because that impact of the drop didn't hit me as hard as it could have. Yeah, that snare hit too. So that snare hit and that build up right before the drop, I think if all that was quieter, then the drop would hit a lot harder. But I like all the drum samples and sounds you've used a lot. The sound design on this track is awesome. That lead sound is really good. I like the pitch bends. I like those chords in the background, sound really good too. The lead melody is awesome. One thing I would fix is the 808. I think everything sounds a little too clean maybe. I think if it was a little bit of a dirtier 808 that was mixed in maybe a little quieter, but just with some more high-end harmonics to come through on different types of speaker systems, it would sound really good. Yeah, it sounds like the 808 is a little overpowering, so that's why it might sound a little bit muddy right now. But I think if you brought that 808 down a little bit and distorted it a little bit, I think it'd sound really good. But overall, really sick track. Alright, so that's all I really have time for right now, unfortunately. But I'm super, super impressed by a lot of those demos. They sounded really good. A lot of the samples you guys used were really clean. A lot of the sound design and songwriting was awesome. So I'm really pleasantly surprised by how good those demos sounded. I'll try to go through and listen to the ones I didn't get to on my own time. I can't promise I'll respond on this email just because I don't really have enough time to respond to every individual demo. But I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours in the video today. I'll probably do another one of these in the future, so hopefully I'll get to your track then. But anyway, thank you guys for sending your demos. Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Spotify below. And other than that, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.